How's it going, guys? Jose back again with another video on Hear Me Raw. And today I want to talk about a subject that I haven't spoken about too much. I mentioned on the channel, and it's something that I am really passionate about. And I feel so many different ways about this. So many different ways. But one of the big focuses of mine is mental health. Mental health is truly so important in the times that we live in. A lot of people are realizing that they need it. People from all walks of life are realizing that they need it. And it's something that I think we're gonna have to be working on for a long time, especially as the world rapidly moves in so many directions. We're getting so much information, so many different outlooks, so many different ways of seeing the world. People are having access to all this information, and people are questioning things, and that's a good thing. People are questioning things, and that's never really a bad thing. But of course, it can go either way. That's life. People can make their own decisions. In terms of mental health, I feel like what I can do with my platform is people do love to hear me talk, and I do have some type of influence, and people always checking on what I'm doing and things like that. So, and I do like to share about things, and I get all these thoughts, I get all these things, and I don't always want to share them because I don't always like to stir the pot, but at the same time, I also like to stir the pot. So I have both sides within me, um, and also too, I do know that I'm not my thoughts. A lot of things go through here that are not always mine, and I don't attach to them either. So it's a tough one to say. It's like, if am I going out into the world based on what I learned when I grew up, or am I taking everything that I've accumulated and am I making a decision based on that? Like true leadership, like you don't always have the answers. I believe we wait till we have the answers in order to do something, and as we continue to analyze and analyze and analyze, but there is something called analysis paralysis. If you overanalyze it, then you end up doing nothing. If you just question things so much, you end up doing nothing. Imagine if you had to, if you decided that, you know what, I'm not gonna take a breath anymore until I know the ins and out of like what it takes to be able to breathe. Because I don't know, maybe breathing is dangerous. Maybe 1,000 years in the future, we're gonna realize, oh shit, the reason we were dying is because we were breathing the whole time. That's just a crazy example, but you can do that with analysis paralysis. You can truly do that. So I'm here to say that I don't have all the answers. I really don't. I'm figuring things out as I go. I made some decisions. I made some bad ones, some good ones, and all in all, it's brought me here to the place where I'm at today. And I can say that it's scary as fuck. We're going through a pandemic. Um, who knows who has the answer? Some people are saying you should take the vaccine. Other people are saying you shouldn't take the vaccine. Some people are taking the vaccine and they're dying weeks later. Who knows if they weren't gonna die anyway? But some people that's happening right now. And you got people fighting, oh, if you don't take the vaccine, then we can't be friends. If you don't take the vaccine, then you can't work here. And all this stuff and all this division going on. And that seems to be like what the powers that be want. They want us to be divided. I still believe that at the end of the day, we still have to come find a way to be together, and that's going to be our goal as the people, and as to individually connect to source and find some way. Because in my opinion, I believe we have more in common than we have that separates us, and the things that separate us, they should be celebrated. Variety is the spice of life. We need different ways of looking at life. We just absolutely do. We can't just look at it in purely in a scientific fashion. We can't look at it purely in a religious faction. We can't look at it purely on a spiritual faction, because some people do separate religion and spirituality. Um, there's different ways, and you can't look at it simply from your perspective, because there's billions of different perspectives on this planet. And as from what I've learned, from what I've studied, all of them are valid. Everybody that's here is valid to be here for some reason. The universe found for some reason wanted you to be here, whether you want to believe it or not. So I like to take that opportunity that I'm here to do something good. And my good thing for me right now is really expressing about the things that I've been afraid to express for a long time. I've been doing that a lot in the past year, and it's been good and bad. It's opened up some doors for me. It's also closed a lot of doors for me. And yeah, so the main thing I'm talking about here is gonna have to be with like my bisexuality, pansexuality, two-spiritedness, whatever you want to call it. Um, a lot of people are saying pick a side, pick a side. A lot of people don't even think that bisexual people exist, which I think is really sad. The reason why I speak about this, because like what I do behind closed doors, whatever I do in my personal life, that's nobody's business. That's the biggest thing that I hear people say, like, who cares, who cares, who cares, who cares what you like. The thing is, people do care. We care. People care. You could say I don't give a damn as many times as you want to, but at the end of the day, humans give a damn. Look at this. People are doing plastic surgery to change their bodies. They're doing so many things. Like makeup is huge. People care. People buy every decision that people make. It typically is based on like what other people think, and I care what people think too. But at the end of it, I don't care at the same time. You have to find a balance between caring and not caring, because not living out your truth can mean death, and that's what I'm seeing a lot. A lot of people are still trying to conform and still trying to live life by society's standards, and we can not do that anymore. And it also depends on like what are society standards, which nowadays we're seeing in terms of society. There's a lot of fear. There's a lot of fearing what you don't understand. There's a lot of fearing you want things to stay the same. For me, I like change, and I look at me embracing this side of myself in two different ways. I look at it in a way of like expanding consciousness. Now there's just more ways of me looking at the world, add more options, and yeah, it's beautiful in that way. The other way, I see it as like maybe I am stirring the pot a little too much. Maybe this is gonna ruin families. Maybe this is gonna ruin blah blah blah. And I find that myself, like individually, sometimes we put the whole weight of the world on our shoulders. You're only one person, and your decision is not gonna end the world. If you are an individual and you're bisexual, you're gay or lesbian, the biggest things like, oh, now you can't have kids, right? And we're humans. That's our means. We came here to produce kids. That's the main thing people have against like homosexuality, bisexuality, and all that stuff. Like, what's the point of that relationship when it's not gonna have a kid? Well, guess what? There are straight people that don't want to have kids. Is there something wrong with them? There are people that simply can't have kids because of whatever reason. Are they less of a man or they're less of a woman because they can't have kids? It's the way that we're defining what it means to be a man, what it means to be a woman, all these things that we're trying to define. We end up separating each other. And as I've seen that we've gone away from that, we've gone away from the religious thing, because honestly, a lot of religious things that are still upheld today, when you bring them to science, it doesn't match up. And there's still stuff with religion that we haven't fully understood yet. I mean, now you look at spirituality, it's all about like not understanding. Like it's about how the universe, whatever we think we haven't figured out, the universe throws something else at us like, holy crap, we did not see that coming. So we have a lot of evolution to do. We have a lot of evolving to do. And in my experience, and embracing other cultures and embracing different ways of life, embracing different sexualities, different gender identities, I've been seeing the world come together. I've been seeing more love. At the end of the day, this is more love. You have a lot of kids out there anyway that need people to be adopted. And I just, for me, the way that to look at life in that way, that like gay people, homosexuals, like they're evil, that they're going to hell. This is very dangerous. You have kids, you have teenagers that are coming out the womb with these feelings, and they know that their feelings are valid, but everyone around them is telling them that their feelings are not valid. They tell them that they're going to hell, and then they try to do conversion therapy. They try to do so many things. I implore you to do the research, because it's going to affect you. There's a lot of people out there. There's a lot of people that are hiding these things. There are a lot of people that are pretending. Some people are not embracing their two-spiritedness or their bisexuality or their homosexuality. They're not experiencing this stuff. They're not expressing this stuff. Some people are like in their 80s, 90 years old. Now they're finally deciding to live free. Do you want to be that person that waited that long? And the more of us that come out for this, the better. And the more people that are not gay and homosexual that are going to speak up for the people that are, the better as well. And also, too, the more women that do it, too, is going to also be more helpful, because in this situation, a lot of men end up suffering. Men have it hard enough as it is. I'm going to link a video in the description below. It's a dark-skinned woman talking about how, she realizes how the injustices towards men are not looked at, they're not talked about or anything. And if a man wants to come and talk about it, they're going to be seen as a punk, So she said she was dating somebody, and then everything was going good, and she's like a feminist at the time. And then the guy starts talking about how, the world is unfair towards men, and she's like, oh man, that you're full of like, saying that the guy's full of it, and then like she said that her attraction to the guy went down because the guy spent like an hour talking about this. And then she went and did the research, and she's like, holy crap, he was right. There's like domestic violence towards men, there's physical violence, like this, all types of violence happening towards men, and all types of double standards too, towards men that nobody wants to talk about. It's very easier to feel sorry for a woman than it is to feel for a man. And then in our society, men haven't been set up to really express their emotions. The main emotions that men will express are gonna be like either anger and laughter, either happiness or anger. There's not really typically sadness. You don't see them like because they think that crying is weak, and it's something I still struggle with. I'm at the point in my life now that I do cry. I do cry. I'm working on being able to cry around people. I typically go by myself when I cry, but it's good. It feels good to feel their emotions rather than just like, because I do feel like a lot of times I I just stay there with a straight face. It's like I act as if it's not affecting me. Like, oh, something crazy happened. I'm like, whatever. And, it is what it is. That's why I say in my mind, like, I'm not gonna react to this. Like, I'm a man. I'm not supposed to react. I remember as a little kid, growing up in Haiti, where it's pretty violent for kids in Haiti, where like they hit you. Like you go to school, you're getting hit. Everywhere you're getting hit. Like they just wail on children. So at a very young age, I'm like, you know what? I'm not gonna show weakness. You're gonna hit me with that stick 50 times because somebody cheated on me. You're gonna bring me to the class. Bring out my bones like that, and it's like bam, it's like wham on me. You're gonna do that. I'm not gonna shed one tear. I'm not gonna shed one tear, and that stayed with me for a long, long time to the point where I was like, yo, I don't know if I can cry. I don't know if it's possible. I think I've blocked that emotion. I think I blocked it so much that like I'm not even ticklish. That's how much I block my sensations. So it's not good for men to do this. Men, you have to realize your emotions are valid. All of them are valid. Happiness, sadness. You cry if you need to. It's important. You have tear ducts for a reason. So yeah. So like by exploring this side of myself, by really being out and open with it, I know that there's some people that are not gonna look at me the same way. I know there are some women that won't even look my way now because they know what I am, but those are not the women that I'm here for anyway. Because for me, like I'm bisexual, pansexual, but my attraction is at the top of the list is women. Women are so beautiful. Like, and they say like for the people that say, oh, you cannot like women and men at the same time, but that's true. You can. I'm really not even that attracted to men. Really, like men, not so much. I'd say this is the first time I'm gonna publicly say this. How my attraction goes, it would go to like it would be women and then trans women and then a really cool man. I think I'll say then the third person I'm attracted to is myself. Like I love myself. Like most men I'm not attracted to mainly because the attitudes that men have. That's not. I don't find that attitude attractive. Like when I'm around a bunch of dudes, like straight dudes, um, they're cool for the most part, but not all of them. Like it all depends because there's basic straight dudes and then there's like evolved straight dudes, and for the most part, a lot of men are just kind of like basic. They're very immature. The things that they talk about is weird. The way they talk about women is appalling. I'm like don't tell me that. Like that's a human being. Like you need to treat that human being with respect. Like the lack of respect I see that men have towards women is one of the biggest turnoffs for me. Like no. And then I would say too, a lot of men don't take care of themselves. It's actually a joke. You see that like gay men and bisexual men, they care more about their appearance than most straight men do. So they'll go to the gym and they'll take care of themselves. They'll have like their facial routine and stuff like that. So there's a reason why a lot of times women will fall for gay men not knowing that they're gay because those men they're gonna take better care of themselves. For the most part, I believe they'll treat women nicer too. They'll actually listen to them and they're not gonna try to have sex with them. That's one thing I saw that was different between me and the men around me. Is like the men they were more so focused on having sex. I love sex, I love it. But for me, like at a time, it's like yo, like the way society teaches you for men to be always chasing after sex, you kind of think like, oh, any female friends I have to sleep with them, and that was kind of ingrained in me, and I took that out. I stopped having sex for like a year. Like, okay, no, like this is not me. Like I don't want to have sex with the women in my life. Like I love these women. Like they're teaching me beautiful lessons, and I want, and also too, as exploring the sexuality nowadays too, and being a little bit more feminine in my energy because people can feel it, then you do get guys that approach you, get guys that like you, you get the guys that look at you and they can tell. Just like there's a gay that bidar, I can typically tell when a guy is like either gay or bisexual, even more so than women. Like some women will be talking to me, man, I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty sure he's gay or bisexual, but then like they wouldn't believe me, but like I know, like um, just like the way guys approach me is just like it's boring, it's lame, like it's not deep, and so I'm not really that attracted to men. Um, so I feel like men have room to evolve. So I believe how the world is going in this direction, more people are exploring their sexuality. People are seeing that, you know, it's important for men to be heard. It's important for men to express themselves, and it's okay for men to be a little bit feminine. It doesn't make them any less of a man. These things need to be expressed. These things need to be common knowledge, and our youth especially needs to know about this. They need to know in ways in which they can express themselves. I think like the media is doing a really great job in trying to represent all types of life. And the final thing for me is like, because of how I am and I've always been, about representation mattering, the way that I am, I still don't see it anywhere. I don't see myself, I don't see a character such as myself on TV or anything like that. So me being represented is like nowhere. I'm not like the kind of like guy, I'm not very flamboyant, you know. I'm just me. You know, I'm just me, and who I am too is still kind of figuring that out. Like, what would I act like? What would I act like if I wasn't afraid of like what society was gonna think? What would I act like if I wasn't afraid of how people would judge me? I would say like the people that matter to me most. I would say, or like the people that have not been indoctrinated, or people that like let's say they don't know anything about me. Like I think it's strangers. They'll see me, they'll be like, oh, he's a cool guy. Look at his beard. Look at his hair. Look at his thing. Like, you know, he's an awesome dude. But if they talk to me after a while, eventually they're gonna find something about me that they don't like. Like I was actually talking to a Pisces, and you know he was like digging my vibe and everything. Not that he's like checking me out or nothing, but he was loving me as a person. But the more I told him, the more like I could tell like, oh, now he's kind of weirded out. Oh, he does yoga. Oh, he must be a devil worshiper or whatever. Because people do think people that do yoga is demonic. Like yoga that has so many absolutely beautiful benefits, a lot of people stay away from it, and a lot of this has to do with religion. And yoga is just like mind blowing. Like that'll change your life. Um, but yeah, like oh, and then of course like I'm not gonna tell someone as a complete stranger that I'm bisexual, but maybe eventually I might, just because I feel like it is important for people to know that we're out there and that it's not easy to see us. Because if I date a woman, automatically I'm straight to most people. If I was to date a man, automatically I'm gay to most people, but either way I'm still bisexual. And that's why people can't wrap their minds around. People have really closed their minds. What they know is what they know, and they don't want anything else. But guess what? That means that if your mind is no longer expanding, you might as well die. Just quit. Just go dig a grave and jump in it. If you don't want your mind to expand, if you don't want to see how expensive love can be, you know. So like I'm all for it. I'm here for the expansion of the universe. I'm here to protect. I'm here to fight for the underdog. In this case, the underdog is gonna be minorities. It's gonna be black people. It's gonna be women. It's gonna be children. Children, they need to be protected as well. People are saying, oh, showing more gay, bisexual, and that stuff on TV is very harmful to the children. But you have children that are very young that are dealing with these identity crises, and to bring them to conversion camp or to tell them that there's something wrong with them, that's not good. The world is hard enough as it is. To kick your child out because they like the same gender and things like that, we need to grow and evolve past all these things, and these are important subjects to be talked about. So yeah, like if you're going through these things, like definitely find community. You know, your family might not like what you're doing, but I think this day and age there's enough resources out there. I would say educate yourself on it, look up videos, find other people that are talking about this, because representation matters. So, and I'm with you as well. Part of the reason why like I kept it to myself for a long time as well is just because once you do it, once you come out, some opportunities like are gonna be close to you. Some people are gonna look at you differently, and it's so bad too. Um, yeah, yeah. I just because it's gonna be dangerous. It is more dangerous. There are certain things that if I do, it's just straight up more dangerous. Like trans people, the life is very dangerous for them. Like even when the Black Lives Matter thing was going on, the whole world's fighting for black people. You had a group of black men attacking a transgendered woman. You know, like just grown men are jumping, like 20 of them attacking one person. Like, how do you even cultivate such hatred? And for me, it goes back to religion, and that's why like I wanna let go of religion. I still have people that are very religious around me, and I love them, and I don't want to argue about religion, but religion just doesn't add up, and it just causes a lot of stress, a lot of trauma, and people really hold on to it, and they're able to use it to justify doing very harsh things. and whether or not you're religious or not, a lot of us grew up in it. So those tendencies to pick something and be all of it and identify with it, and everything outside of that is blasphemy or evil to you. That's something that the humans have quickly been very easy at doing, and it's very uneducational. It lacks critical thinking. Again, we have to bring these things together: education, spirituality, religion, all this stuff. I'm not saying religion should be thrown all the way, but the colonization of religion, the colonization of that got rid of like things like voodoo. That's getting rid of things like what the Native Americans used to do, like getting rid of their culture and their practices. That needs to end. The colonization of things, the the patriarchy, the way that the patriarchy is doing things, capitalism. So it's like there's some incredible faults within these systems that need to be adjusted. And the new president actually just did some amazing work. I'll post a link to that video as well. A YouTuber really explained it well, but he definitely put some things out there that's gonna help everybody in the LGBT community. It's gonna help trans people. It's gonna help non-binary people, people that don't identify as one specific gender. So for me, change is here. The world is changing. I'm here for it, and it sounds like the world's blowing up. End of the world. People that are very conservative, they're just like, oh my God, this is it. you know. But honestly, I'm here for it. At the end of the day, I'm here for it. This is growth and change. Sometimes, in order for things to change, things have to be completely destroyed, and that's what's happening right now. The way that we live is going to be different. It's going to be new. It has to be. So that's my video for today, man. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions for me, let me know in the comment section below. And I'll see you guys in the next one.